Let's take a few minutes and talk about inspirational leadership theories. And leadership is such an exciting area of organizational behavior, and there's a lot of new research that's constantly emerging. There's three new developments that are important to understand in inspirational. Let's take this next few minutes to discuss inspirational leadership theories and talk more about leadership and also followers and what that entails. But we know that leadership is an exciting area of organizational behavior. There's lots of new research and there's constantly new theories, new ideas that are emerging. There are three that I want to discuss on this slide of developments that are important to understand. One of those is transformational leadership. And with transformational leadership, it inspires followers to high levels of performance. And we'll look at a video later on charismatic leadership. That's next coming up. But subdimensions of this are charisma, and it's the individualized consideration, inspirational motivation, intellectual stimulation. And we know with transformational leadership, it's that person that makes you rise to the next level, to think about the organization differently. And it's been shown that transformational leadership will increase a firm's performance. Charismatic leadership, it uses the force of personal abilities and talents to have a profound effect on followers, and it has potential to elicit high levels of performance from followers. And there can be a good side to charismatic leadership, and when we think about people as charismatic leaders, we can think about, I think of Rudy Giuliani after 9/11, and when he had to stand there and look in the eyes of people, and he was walking when buildings are collapsing around him and leading during that difficult time. And I can think of, I'm a big UT Vols fan, and I think of Pat Summitt and how charismatic she has been, or she was, with her players and the followership that went along with that. But there can also be a bad side of charismatic leadership. That could be David Koresh in the Waco. It could be Hitler. It could be Mussolini. So there are good sides and bad sides. So you have to be careful, because a lot of times with charismatic leadership, they shape the organization to fit their personality. And then there's authentic leaders. They have a conscious sense of values. They act consistently to their value systems. They motivate their followers to higher levels of performance. They build a workplace characterized by high levels of hope, optimism, resiliency, and self-efficacy. So if we look at emerging issues in leadership, it's along with recent development in theories, some exciting issues have emerged that leaders need to be aware of. And that's emotional intelligence. And you guys have looked at emotional intelligence, and you have done an assessment on that. And that's the ability to recognize and manage emotions in oneself and also in others. And leaders with higher emotional intelligence tend to keep their cool, and they'll make better decisions. Trust. Effective leaders understand whom to trust and how to trust, and that resonates with the team, and they're going to be more effective if they trust their leader. And then gender and leadership. We talk about the glass cliff. It's a trend in organizations wherein more women are placed in difficult leadership situations. Women use more people-oriented style, and they excel in positions that demand strong interpersonal skills. And then servant leadership. It's a belief that leaders should serve employees, customers, and communities. And it leads to higher team performance, increased organizational citizenship behavior. But then again, we have abusive supervision, and that's where negative leadership behavior, it diminishes the employee's well-being, along with increased deviant behaviors or deviance behaviors. The most common of abusive supervision is sexual harassment. It can be physical violence. It can be angry outbursts, public ridicule, or even just taking credit for that employee's success. Or it can be scapegoating, always pushing the problem onto that employee. And it's, to me, staggering that it's estimated to affect 13% of U.S. workers. Let's talk a little bit about followership. And that's, in contrast to leadership, the topic of followership really hasn't been extensively researched. But it's the process of being guided and directed by a leader in the work environment. Self-led followers perform tasks that are naturally motivating, and they do work that must be done, but it's not naturally motivating. So let's look at the 5 types of followers. And this is based on 2 dimensions: activity versus passivity, independent thinking versus dependent or uncritical thinking. So let's look at the alienated followers. They will think independently and critically, yet they're passive in their behavior. They become psychologically and emotionally distanced from their leaders. The alienated followers are usually disruptive and a threat to the organization. And then let's look at the sheep. So these are the followers who don't think independently or critical. They're very passive in their behavior. And then we've got our yes people over there. And our yes people are really the most dangerous to the leader because they are the ones that give a false positive reaction, and they give no warning of pitfalls. They're just always saying, yeah, okay, yeah, we can do that, we can do that. The survivors are the least disruptive and the lowest risk followers in an organization. They're the people that say, okay, I'm just better safe than sorry. I'm over here surviving. I'm over here just trying to stay working, and just pretty much leave me alone and I'll do what I need to do. But our effective followers, these are the ones that are highly engaged in their work. They're active, they're responsible, they're autonomous in their behavior, and they're critical in their thinking. And you have to think, as a leader, you're going to be dealing with all of these type of followers. So this is what you'll be faced with in day to day. So you have to know how to manage and how to lead all of these. And then guidelines for leadership. We know that leadership is a key to influencing organizational behavior and achieving organizational effectiveness. So there are 5 guidelines that appear to emerge from leadership research. The first one is unique attributes. Predispositions and talents of each leader should be appreciated. There's no one leader that's exactly the same. Everyone is going to have unique predispositions, unique attributes, and unique talents that they'll bring to the table, and we should appreciate those. Leaders who challenge the organizational style without destroying it should be chosen. So they're not the people, they're not the yes people in the organization. They're going to question, they're going to challenge, and they won't destroy it. But these are the people that should be chosen and really earmarked within your organization. Participative and considerate leadership enhances the health of the well-being of followers. So people that are not abusive, that are considerate, that participate, they'll enhance the well-being of the followers. And different leadership situations call for different leadership talents and behaviors. You don't need all leaders, everyone the same. It would be a Stepford wife situation. So you need to know that different leadership situations are going to call for different leadership talents. And good leaders are likely to be good followers. So we know that they'll be the people that, again, will do what management requests. They're going to be effective, and they will, at all costs, take care of the organization.